Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Now today I'm going to be talking about the Countdown Cup tournament results for the Overwatch League 2022 season. This is also the final tournament and I guess also the final couple of matches before the playoffs and the end of the regular season. So let's get started. So here are the teams which competed in the Countdown Cup tournament. So we have the Florida Mayhem, Toronto Defiant, the Washington Justice, and the Boston Uprising for the West. And then finally for the East, we have the Hangzhou Spark, the Guangzhou Charge, and the Chengdu Hunters. Obviously, I cannot see the players, but here are the players, even though, because I can't really see them. Well, I can't find where the button is to show all the players, but here they all are in their respective team. And obviously after this, we're going to get right into the bracket for both the West and the East, and here it is. So first start off with the East, because obviously that one finished first. So it was a very close game in the semi-finals between the Guangzhou Charge and the Chengdu Hunters, and obviously the Charge had a pretty decent run after the end of the final qualifiers for the Countdown Cup. The Chengdu Hunters were looking a bit shaky, but the Hunters actually did a reverse sweep against the Charge, a 3-2 victory for the Hunters, and lead gained MVP. However, it wasn't all sunshine and roses for the Chengdu Hunters, as they got 3-0'd by the Hangzhou Spark, which means that the Hangzhou Spark will be going over to Anaheim, California, to play in the playoffs against all the other teams, and then they'll be the last East team to play in the playoffs. Then shall I get MVP for that? So the Hangzhou Spark will be the only team that will qualify through the Countdown Cup tournament. So let's now move over to the West region. And the West region was pretty interesting. A 3-0 victory for the Florida Mayhem against the Boston Uprising. No surprises that the Mayhem do look a lot better now compared to what they did a couple tournaments ago. But now they look really good. And obviously check my game MVP. I'm not really surprised about this at all. I definitely thought that the Mayhem was going to be the favorite to make it to the playoffs, so I'm no surprises there for the Mayhem. Another no surprise is the Toronto Defiant against the Washington Justice, and it was the Toronto Defiant winning that one against the Justice, a 3-0 victory, and he too gained MVP. A bit of a surprise here actually, the lower quarter semifinals, which was the Boston Uprising versus the Washington Justice, and it was a 3-0 victory for the Uprising. I really thought the Justice was actually going to make this a little bit more competitive and maybe even have a chance to actually win. But surprisingly, they actually didn't, which I'm really surprised about. I don't know who got MVP for this match, sadly. But it was probably like Punk or something, maybe even Seeker or Valentine. I'm not too sure, but very unlucky there for Justice, and obviously their season ended not too well in lower bracket semifinals against the Uprising. The first team to advance to the playoffs is the Florida Mayhem, as they won against the Toronto Defiant, a 3-1 victory for them. I think this might, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the Florida Mayhem's first ever appearance in the playoffs. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that, which is really strange. But to be fair, the Mayhem have been looking really good this season, so obviously I think they deserve to be in the playoffs for once. But just like I said, the Mayhem, they were the best team out of all these 4 teams, so I'm no surprises there. 3-1 victory for the Mayhem against the Defiant, and it was someone gained MVP for the Mayhem. And finally, a 3-0 victory for the Toronto Defiant against the Boston Uprising, and Hopper gained MVP. Once again, no surprises there. The Defiant definitely were the second best team, and then you could maybe even say the Uprising were the worst, or the Justice was the worst. So you could really say either of them, but either way, it didn't really matter. So that's the Countdown Cup all done, and the regular season also all done. Let's now have a look at all of the playoff teams, and also the bracket as well. Very interestingly, that Kiriko will be available to play for this tournament, for the playoffs, which would be cool to see. And as I said, it'll be at Anaheim. So here are all the players, and also all the teams as well. We got the Dallas Fuel, the San Francisco Shock, the LA Gladiators, the Houston Outlaws, London Spitfire, Atlanta Reign, Seoul Dynasty, Shanghai Dragons, Philadelphia Fusion, the Florida Mayhem, the Toronto Defiant, and the Hangzhou Spark. those are all of the 12 teams which will be in this, and then finally we go down to the bracket. Here are the brackets. So the first one will be the Spitfire versus the Fusion. That will be actually a good throwback match, especially for 2018 season 1, where it was the Spitfire versus the Fusion as the grand final for that season. Then we got the Shanghai Dragons and the Spark, the Rain versus the Mayhem, and the Outlaws versus the Defiant. And then these 4 teams advanced from having a higher seed for in the standings, that being the Dallas Fuel, the Seoul Dynasty, the San Francisco Shock, and the LA Gladiators. These 4 teams will be actually, except for the Dynasty, the Shock, Fuel, and the Gladiators. Those 3 teams will be able to select which team they want to go up against, which will be very interesting to see how that goes. Might end well for them, might well poorly for them. We just have to wait and see though. But that's really about it. About it for the Canada Cup, and also for the regular season for the Overwatch League. And the Overwatch League looks like, so the playoffs will start in a week time, and I'm already making the script for this as well. So look out for that, maybe a bit before the playoffs, or maybe even during it, I'm not too sure, but hopefully, definitely before the playoffs start. So that's really about it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys all next time in the next one. Goodbye.